In recent hours, Washington has shifted its narrative from warning to real pressure and is raising the stakes against Iran. Donald Trump has issued an unequivocal call for Iranians to continue their protests and take over state institutions while cancelling all meetings with Iranian officials until the violence against demonstrators ends.
Iran is on my mind when I see the kind of death that is happening over there, we think. So we're going to get some accurate numbers. I'll have it in about 20 minutes. We'll get some accurate numbers as to what's happening with regard to the killing. The killing looks like it's significant, but...
At the same time, the US administration has announced 25% tariffs on countries doing business with Iran, a move that is intended to hit directly the economic base of Tehran and its trading partners. The sanctions are to cover, among others, China and the United Arab Emirates and India. That is, countries that maintain key trade relations with Iran.
Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas al-Araghchi had been trying to say that he was still in touch with American officials, but Trump today offered a message online which he said help was on the way for Iran without elaborating. That just raises the chances, potentially, of a U.S. strike that could cause more tensions in the Middle East.
The White House press secretary emphasized that diplomacy remains the preferred solution, but also noted that military options, including airstrikes, remain on the table.
I think one thing President Trump is very good at is always keeping all of his options on the table, and airstrikes would be one of the many, many options that are on the table for the commander-in-chief. Diplomacy is always the first option for the president. He's told all of you last night that what you're hearing
According to sources close to the administration, Donald Trump has been briefed on possible military scenarios, including precision strikes on Iranian decision-making infrastructure and Revolutionary Guard Corps structures. No decision has yet been made, but analysis of these operations is continuing. There is also unofficial talk of a partial evacuation of personnel from the U.S. military base in Qatar.
The problem, of course, for the regime is that the underlying economic reasons why this protest started requires certain measures, certain policies, or certain change in policies, which the regime is unable to adapt itself to, and hence.
Meanwhile, key regional partners, including Saudi Arabia and Qatar, are unofficially warning Washington against a unilateral attack on Iran, fearing destabilization of the region and violent fluctuations in oil prices.
My heart is broken for the people of Iran who are protesting, understandably, the economic failures and the repression of that regime. I think we should be very, very careful about any military operation there because it can backfire.
In Iran itself, the number of victims is constantly growing. According to humanitarian organizations, at least 2,500 people have been killed during the pacification of demonstrations. Other sources even speak of more than 12,000 killed.
The situation is really awful, that the doctors ask help because in the hospital they cannot even between themselves, they don't have connection between themselves, they cannot call the other doctors and helps to come to the hospital. And as you know about it, they attacked.
Tehran responds to threats from Washington with warnings of retaliation. Iranian authorities announced swift trials and executions of detainees while threatening attacks on American and Israeli targets. If we want to be effective, we must act quickly. The same steps taken in a few months' time will not have the same effect. We must respond immediately. Hence, activists, politicians, and the son of the deposed Shah of Iran are calling for an immediate response from the West.
We have reached a point where some action is needed, regardless of what the executive branch wants to do. The legislative side has to be in support of anything that can empower a nation, because at the end of the day, it's about empowerment.
Today, the Iranian regime faces not only mass social unrest, but also growing pressure from the United States, economic and potentially military. Donald Trump's decisions to sever ties, impose tariffs, and analyze strikes on specific targets show that Washington is ready to escalate. For Tehran, this is a historic moment, one in which an internal crisis could escalate into a conflict of a much larger global dimension.